You're watching the Sporting Time Show with host Doug Thompson. Sponsored by Jewelry Barn and Pawn Shop. For the athletes, for the game.
Good evening and welcome into the Sporting Time Show. Doug Thompson.
And I'm Joe Brunk.
It is a frigid January.
It finally got to like winter.
Yes.
Here in Bowling Green, Doug.
Man, it was cold earlier on in this week. I mean, It was in the low teens. We're finally up into the 40s again, Joe, but no thank you.
Yeah, the only reason why I want cold is for snow. If it's not going to snow, just keep it warm.
Well, we
no
had
reason to.
We had
no
some
reason
flurries Monday morning.
A little bit.
Kind of.
I'm saying bring it though. Like I want like.
You want
all. I mean, even though it doesn't get me out of school, it doesn't get me out of work. It's still there's something about snow, man.
It
like,
is
it's
nice.
Just, it's the only.
It is nice.
It's the only reason for cold. That's all I'm saying. Only reason for cold is for snow.
Well, I had it growing up, and I'm just fine without it. But I'm with you. If it's not gonna, it's got to be all or nothing, or else let's get back up into the mid 60s and get on with it.
Yeah.
But speaking of cold and sports, the only thing you want to be doing is being inside.
Exactly.
A little basketball and. Man, we had a nice little tournament over the weekend. We had the 2A championship, right? And Warren Central makes it to the semifinals, playing really good basketball, but they run into the buzzsaw of John Harden, who is an undefeated team in Kentucky so far.
Yeah, and they were undefeated in the regular season last year, I believe, at least in the state of Kentucky.
Yeah.
They're a tough matchup for anybody. They've got height, they've got speed, they've got shooting, they've got rebounding, they've got a full court defense that Warren Central saw. I was talking with Brent Thompson, who covered the game for us. He said, man, Central just couldn't get into a rhythm because the full court press really threw them off. And I remember when Bowling Green played them last year up at John Harden, that was a slaughter. John Harden is really good, and they didn't lose a lot from last year. Alex Matthews he's a candidate for being a player of the year in the state of Kentucky. I think he's really good because he does it all. He's a 5-tool player. You talk about that in baseball, the 5-tool. I mean, he can shoot, he can handle, he can defend, he can rebound, and he can pass. There you go. There's 5 tools.
That's 5 tools
for Alex Matthews. The kid can play. He's really good.
They end up winning the 2A championship by 20 points over Bourbon County. They're the real deal, and I've looked at their schedule. They've had a really competitive schedule. So it's not like John Harden is kind of cruising through easy teams. They're playing tough, and the game against Warren Central, they really put it on them. They played, and Central played okay. But John Harden's for real. When you look around the 4th region right now, Joe, it is really shaping up to be that Warren Central Bowling Green rivalry that we have seen in years past. Greenwood's playing well. South Warren at times plays well. Logan County, as you and I have talked about, still has a question mark.
They have a question mark, but I think the only question mark really is the fact that we just don't get to see them. And unfortunately, we're not going to get to see them take on a Warren Central or a Bowling Green in the regular season. That's a bummer. I thought that Bowling Green was going to have them on the schedule. We had them last year, but it looks like neither Central or Bowling Green is on Logan's schedule this year. That's a bummer. I think that is a matchup that a lot of people, including myself, really want to see because I think you talk about Bowling Green, you talk about Central. Greenwood gets mentioned to be a spoiler. Logan is the other one. And then it's kind of, okay, where's the rest of the region at? And unfortunately, we won't get to see Logan really take on those top contenders until the regional tournament. So.
Right. Well, Joe, you and I talked last week on the podcast, the Take 5. By the way, how can people listen to our podcast?
Oh, you can find it on the Apple Podcast app. Search Sporting Times, Take 5, or on SoundCloud. If you want to go just the internet way,
just go there.
We're on SoundCloud. You can search Sporting Times, Take 5. Should be able to find it from there.
So last week I hit you with the fact that, the ST Digest is coming out towards the end of January, and it was up to you to select our mid-season.
You kind of sprung that on me.
I did. Our All Hoops team.
Yeah.
There's probably nobody else in the region that sees more basketball or is more qualified to select the ST All Hoops team than you. So I put it on you. Now, it's true. It's true.
I see a lot of basketball. I see a lot of Bowling Green basketball.
But you see a lot of teams that play Bowling Green, and you get out there, and when Bowling Green is not playing, you stay up on it. I was very interested to see who was selected for this season's mid-season All Hoops team. And I think our readers will be kind of surprised, because I was surprised at some names that were on there, some names that were not on there.
Yeah.
But it is the mid-season All Hoops team, not the year-end All Hoops team.
Correct. And it's the mid-season. I try to spread the love a little bit amongst the region. I think that's something that I really wanted to stress. I mean, honestly, I could just go 14 district and pick 8 guys, and that's going to be a really good team.
And be safe.
And be perfectly safe. But I wanted to get some guys out of the 16th, got to get some guys out of the 15th as well, and the 13th has got some
which
good players
deserve to
too.
be on there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I tried to keep it kind of one player per team. That's where it got hard, because, I mean, there are some teams that have a couple of really good players, and then to differentiate between those guys and only giving one spot to a kid from Greenwood. Or
I know, and that's the team I was going to say.
Like one for Greenwood, one for Logan County. You know, it's tough to pick the one guy. You know, Warren Central has a lot of good players, but Dre Boyd's the guy, right?
He's the man.
A lot of good players on Bowling Green, but Isaiah Mason's the guy, right? You look at the guys like Greenwood and Logan. They've got a lot of really good players, and I'm still waiting to see who's the guy from those teams, and I kind of had to just pick one, and I went with it.
Yes, you did.
Thanks for putting that on me, Doug.
I did put you on. I can't wait for our readers to look at it and us get the feedback. Let's pivot over to the girls' side really quick. It is Bowling Green, Barron County right now. Russell County third in the 4th region right now, but certainly as we've talked about this 4th region on the girls' side, Joe, there is some separation between 1 and 2, and then 2 in the rest of the 4th region.
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily put Russell County that far behind Barron. I think they're kind of neck and neck, to be quite honest with you. Like Russell County, they slipped up once early this season against Metcalf, I think. But since then, they've rattled off a bunch of wins. So don't sleep on Russell County. They're a team that's going to be good down the stretch and is going to be a threat once it comes to the 4th region for sure. So I don't differentiate. In fact, when I do my rankings, I have Russell County ahead of Barron. Yeah. To be honest, but Barron's really good. But as we've said, the past couple times, the Lady Purples are just kind of running away with the region right now, and I'm curious to see if anyone else is going to improve enough as the season goes along to make this a conversation other than Bowling Green's heading to state.
The Lady Lakers have won 6 straight so far as of this broadcast.
Yeah.
We can get into who they've played, strength of schedule and all that. Barron County strong. Another team is Coach Stenson's Glasgow Lady Scotties.
Yeah.
They're playing very well. They're a young team, but they're playing well. So they're in the conversation as well.
Yeah, it's and their only losses are to teams in the those top teams in Barron or Bowling Green. They haven't lost to a questionable team.
Right.
They're solid.
Yeah.
So, and they're well coached.
All right, we'll keep it right here. A lot of basketball coming up. Of course, we have the West Strader Schoolboy Classic, Joe, on February 8th. We are going to talk about that in depth on next week's show. A lot of great teams coming in for that. Of course, West Strader, a Hall of Famer, no longer with us, but what a tribute to him with the West Strader Schoolboy Classic. It is going to be a lot of fun. We will be covering that wire to wire during that day, but we'll have more on that next week, Joe. And of course, today's show, we've got a special guest, another great guest, William Unsell, the head coach of the Warren Central Dragons, will join us in just a minute. We're going to take a short break, Joe. See you next week.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We'll see you in just a few seconds.
As far as engagement rings, or any ring for that matter, or any piece of jewelry, there's nothing that we probably cannot do.
Every engagement ring imaginable is available here. We not only have in-stock pieces, but we also make custom-made jewelry. Anything that they are seeing in a mall-type setting, we can absolutely reproduce it if we don't already have it in stock. I will say we're very personable here.
We try to make it very special for everybody.
An unrivaled customer experience continues to be a cornerstone at Leachman Buick GMC. Leachman is Kentucky's #1 GMC dealer, and we invite you to discover why generations of customers choose Leachman Buick GMC.
Planes and trains, cars and guitars, caves and waves, rails and trails, thrills and chills, charm and farms. We could keep going for days, and that's just what it would take to see and do everything in the Bowling Green area. As the home of the Corvette, we sure love our fast cars, but the city offers so much more that we think you'll be surprised by how much is happening here. The icing on the Duncan Hines cake is that we're geared for couples, families, and groups with this many options. For more information, go to visitbgky.com.
Hey, I'm Dave Stumbo, owner at Toyota Bowling Green. If you're looking for a new or used vehicle, what would a lifetime warranty be worth? Ask your dealer for a free warranty for life. When they say no, come to Toyota Bowling Green, where nearly 100% of every car and truck has a free lifetime powertrain warranty. Why? Because we only have the best. Toyota Bowling Green, where we make you #1.
Welcome back to the show. Well, no introduction need, but I will anyway. Coach Unseld, Warren Central boys head basketball coach. Coach, welcome to the show.
Appreciate you having me.
It is. It's good seeing you. Would you consider this mid-season? Is it? Do they break the season down into 4 parts? You have the preseason, holiday season.
We break it down into 3. Well, really 4. You break it down into 4. We have what we just played preseason basically. Now I tell my kids we basically play an 8-game season. Yeah. District games. So that's what we are in our season now. And then you got then you got the postseason. You know, we really, those games before your district games, you want to win them, but it's not very important. These are the games you're trying to win.
So it has been, I think, since 1998, maybe, I don't know. It's a lot of times it comes down to Warren Central, Bowling Green. Mm-hmm. Before we get to that, I do want to ask you about the new RPI system. Is that something that interests you? Are you in favor of that, or are you indifferent?
I haven't paid any attention to it. I haven't. That's the honest God truth. I haven't paid any interest to it. I don't even look at the rankings honestly right now, because none of that's relevant right now. You know, you could be ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 18, 19, 20. None of it matters until late in the year. You know, you get late in the year, and you just got to win basketball games. Right. So I try my best not to pay any attention to none of it. I haven't looked at the RPI stuff. Haven't even tried to figure it out. You know, because you just never know what that is. What are they equating? You know, because we've played a tough schedule so far. I mean, you know, we had to play Ashland Blazer at Blazer during the tournament, at South Oldham. You know, so. You know, just finished playing John Harden. We haven't set it up easy for the kids, but it'll make us better at the end.
Well, speaking of John Harden, you just came out of the Kentucky 2A championships, and John Harden, I think now is 19 or 20-0 or whatever. You played them heads up early in that game. You got to walk away from that, Coach, feeling good about your squad, knowing that there's still a lot of season left to improve.
They beat us by 38 points. They're not 38 points better than us, I don't believe. Like I said, we played them early. We had some stuff happen during the game, and then they just took off on us. And we just never got control of the game again. Give them credit. I mean, they played lights out. I think their coach said it's the best they had played all year. Yeah. They played lights out. They made all their shots, which you play a good team like that. And, you know, you got to be able to make shots, and you hope they're missing. Well, it was opposite. They were making them. We weren't. Yeah. So, you know, I left there. I didn't leave there like, oh, my God, we're in trouble. I left there like, okay, this is where we got to get better at. We need this guy to get healthy, and then we'll be pretty good. Because we're a long way from playing our best basketball. You know, we've had a kid miss, you know, Brent's missed the first few games. We get him back. Tegra goes right out right as soon as he comes back. He missed 4 games. Yeah. 2 minutes into the game, the Tegra comes back, and I'm thinking, okay, we finally got our whole top 9. Jesse Wright goes down 2 minutes into that game, and he hadn't played since then. Yeah. So we're hoping we get him back in another, you know, week, 10 days. And, you know, his importance doesn't show up statistically for us. But what he does for us, nobody can replace it. You know, he's our toughness. He's our, you know, he gets all the 50-50 balls. He's on the floor. You know, he's beating and banging. and he's allowing other kids to do other things because he's taking care of all that. So once we get him back and we can get some practices in with everybody, I'll be tickled because we're finally, I think we'll hit our best basketball on that last stretch run we got.
You know, the 4th region, 14th district, I mean, it is not a sprint in this.
No.
I mean, it's really a long process, and I think you approach your season differently than maybe Bowling Green and you both approach it. You front load real heavy games and tough games, and Coach, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it doesn't really. You're not really concerned with wins and losses early in the season, right?
No, I'm not. I've never had been. You schedule it that way. I want to schedule tough early. I want to make sure I got tough games early. And, of course, you're going to have tough games in your district and region. Then I want to finish up with a tough one. Like, we'll go back to LaRue County this year. We played them for the 3rd year, and they're really good. We're going to play a team in the West Trader Classic, Lafayette Jefferson out of Indiana, who is, I think, 5th in the biggest class there. So we got tough ones coming. And I mean, last year going into the district tournament, we were 16-10. Made it to the state Final Four. Nobody realizes we're 16-10 going into the district tournament. So I tell my kids all the time, don't worry about your losses right now. The fans are worried about that stuff. We don't. Inside our locker room, we don't worry about them. We're like, all right, we take the losses lessons. All right, here's what we got to get better at. We got to do this better. We got to do this better. And it helps us going forward.
Yeah.
Even a loss like John Harden, you say, okay, sometimes you just get thumped. We got thumped. Now how are we going to respond? That's your lesson. How you respond to that.
Right. And
the kids were great. Yesterday in practice, they were great. We had walkthrough and film this morning. They were really good. And you're like, okay, that's what you want to see. No heads hanging. You know, everybody had a little bounce to them. So that's what you want to see. Yeah. I mean, and we got a tough stretch coming. You know, we play tonight at Bowling Green, get South Warren tomorrow at home. I think it's going to be 4 games in 6 days. You know, we played a Knox Central team who was 14-2. Play John Harden, who was one in the state, and they are definitely one in the state right now. But there's some really good teams out there. But the way they're playing, you know, they're special. And then you got Bowling Green tonight, who's a top 20 team, top 15, top 10, whatever you want to call them. They're really good. And then we turn around and play South Warren, who's really good. So we got 4 tough games in 6 days. So we figure out what we're made of, and then we finish the week up with Greenwood. So at Greenwood, so we got a tough stretch coming. But I like it that way. You figure out what your team's made of. And I think we just got to weather the storm, get healthy, and once we do, I think we'll really have a chance to be pretty good.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I want to ask you a little bit more about Warren Central basketball and about you as a coach. So stay tuned. We're going to take a short break. More of the Sporting Times on WNKY NBC 40.
As far as engagement rings, or any ring for that matter, or any piece of jewelry, there's nothing that we probably cannot do.
Every engagement ring imaginable is available here. We not only have in-stock pieces, but we also make custom-made jewelry. Anything that they are seeing in a mall-type setting, we can absolutely reproduce it if we don't already have it in stock. I will say we're very personable here.
We try to make it very special for everybody.
An unrivaled customer experience continues to be a cornerstone at Leachman Buick GMC. Leachman is Kentucky's #1 GMC dealer, and we invite you to discover why generations of customers choose Leachman Buick GMC.
Planes and trains, cars and guitars, caves and waves, rails and trails, thrills and chills, charm and farms. We could keep going for days, and that's just what it would take to see and do everything in the Bowling Green area. As the home of the Corvette, we sure love our fast cars, but the city offers so much more that we think you'll be surprised by how much is happening here. The icing on the Duncan Hines cake is that we're geared for couples, families, and groups with this many options. For more information, go to visitbgky.com.
Hey, I'm Dave Stumbo, owner at Toyota Bowling Green. If you're looking for a new or used vehicle, what would a lifetime warranty be worth? Ask your dealer for a free warranty for life. When they say no, come to Toyota Bowling Green, where nearly 100% of every car and truck has a free lifetime powertrain warranty. Why? Because we only have the best. Toyota Bowling Green, where we make you #1.
All right, welcome back to the show, Coach. I got to ask you, how much fun do you have coaching? You've been doing it for many, many years. You know, what is it like, you know, to coach the Warren Central kind of team, to be in the mix, to be in the conversation year in and year out, but On a personal note, I mean, what is it as a coach? What is it like for you?
I enjoy it. The biggest thing for me is I love seeing what my kids are when they come in as freshmen to what we can get them as seniors. You take a few years ago, Skylar Potter's group, when they were in middle school, they weren't very good. When they were freshmen, I think they were like 6 and 12. But I was telling my freshman coach at the time, I said, they're going to be really good. We got to develop them, but they're going to be really good because you can't teach what they are. Skylar was athletic, Jordan was long at that time, and we just had a really good group, and we knew the group behind them was pretty good. So just to see that come together over the years is special. It's just fun being around the kids and coaching them and being a part of really a big part of their life at the really one of the most important times of their life. They're getting ready to leave and go into adulthood. So the changes and the lessons you can teach them as they're going into adulthood, it's a big responsibility.
And especially, my coaches in my era are much different than coaches today. I mean, you're doing a lot more. As a coach, you're just not doing X's and O's.
Right. No. Well, you're doing a little bit of everything with the kids. You're confident. You're somebody they can talk to. Your weightlifting coach. Of course, when I played, we didn't lift much. We lift all the time. You're a little bit of everything, and you got to be there for them. Those kids got to know you're there for them, other than basketball.
Right.
And then the basketball part will work itself out. So that's the enjoyment I get out of it, just watching them develop as young men and having people tell us, boy, you got one of the most respectful group of kids we've had. Yeah. We was at the 2A, and they come and everybody talks about how respectful your kids are. That's what you want. You want to teach them things like that. Yeah. And the basketball part will work itself out.
You and I, you had mentioned about a framed picture in there of George Fant and Shane Bohannon, and we were kind of talking about that was an amazing period of time here in the 14th District. Joe was a part. I think Joe Bronk, one of the first games he broadcasted was your 4 overtime game, right?
In the district championship game.
Yeah, right? So it is special here, right? I mean, it feels like we live in a little bit of a bubble in this 4th region with just the sports in general, but basketball is just crazy.
It is, and it's crazy. You go where you have years where you're okay, it's probably going to be us and them, us and Bowling Green. This year, it might not be us and them. It could be 2 totally different teams at the end. One of us or both of us could not make it out of this district this year. That's how tough it is. Of course, you got Greenwood and South Warren when Blaine does a great job. Greenwood got kids who can make shots. They can beat you. So you're going to have to be on your A game every night. And then you get into the region and you got Logan County and Barron County and, Glasgow and those teams. It's going to be fun.
It is fun.
It's going to be fun. You really find out what your kids are made of. And, it's a one-day deal. You don't get 3 opportunities to beat a team. You might be better than a team and can beat them 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 times. But that one night, that's what makes it special. That one night, they can get you, and that's what high school basketball is all about.
Well, it's much better as a fan watching you coach than I could ever imagine being in your shoes and having to coach these games, because I think I wouldn't be able to handle it. I think it's just too much. And but I appreciate everything that you do and the access that you give us to your program. And it's a pleasure having you.
Anytime. I appreciate you having me.
All right. Thank you, Coach Unseld. All right. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Joe and I are going to wrap up this show. We'll be back in just about a minute and a half. Stay tuned.
As far as engagement rings, or any ring for that matter, or any piece of jewelry, there's nothing that we probably cannot do.
Every engagement ring imaginable is available here. We not only have in-stock pieces, but we also make custom-made jewelry. Anything that they are seeing in a mall-type setting, we can absolutely reproduce it if we don't already have it in stock. I will say we're very personable here.
We try to make it very special for everybody.
An unrivaled customer experience continues to be a cornerstone at Leachman Buick GMC. Leachman is Kentucky's #1 GMC dealer, and we invite you to discover why generations of customers choose Leachman Buick GMC.
Planes and trains, cars and guitars, caves and waves, rails and trails, thrills and chills. charm, and farms. We could keep going for days, and that's just what it would take to see and do everything in the Bowling Green area. As the home of the Corvette, we sure love our fast cars, but the city offers so much more that we think you'll be surprised by how much is happening here. The icing on the Duncan Hines cake is that we're geared for couples, families, and groups with this many options. For more information, go to visit WNKY.com.
Hey, I'm Dave Stumbo, owner at Toyota Bowling Green. If you're looking for a new or used vehicle, what would a lifetime warranty be worth? Ask your dealer for a free warranty for life. When they say no, come to Toyota Bowling Green, where nearly 100% of every car and truck has a free lifetime powertrain warranty. Why? Because we only have the best. Toyota Bowling Green, where we make you number one.
All right, well, we want to thank our guest, Coach William Unz. I love having him as a guest, whether it's on the podcast or whatever format, because he just tells it like it is.
Yeah, he doesn't hold back. He knows the game of basketball.
Yes, he does.
And he knows his kids really well. That's something like I've been able to see whenever they go to the state tournament, like him and his players, they just get along.
Right.
Like he's one of the guys with them, and I think it's because of that relationship that they've been successful the past couple of years.
Well, he has a great philosophy in it. I mean, they work really hard at practice. I mean, he gets after them.
Oh yeah.
But then afterwards, they have fun too. He lets the guys have fun and not be kids, but be young men and enjoy it and kind of have some fun with each other. And so he's just a really, really good coach, and look forward to having him back on. Of course, enjoy watching him coach. He gets after him during the game, Joe. No question about that. But anyway, I kind of released you early. I was like, all right, Joe, we'll see you next week in segment 1.
I was like, man, I can't let you close this show out on your own. I can't do it. I can't leave you be, Doug.
I was such in a hurry to get to that interview. It's like, see you next week, Joe.
Just get out of here, Joe. Just leave. I see how it is.
But with that, Joe, before we do close out of this show, how do people watch us? How do they listen to us? How do they get to us on social media?
Well, easiest way is to follow us on Twitter at Sporting Times. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/thesportingtimes. And our website is stfanclub.com. All new. We got coaches' interviews, highlight reels up there, some stories going up there as well. And, of course, our live stream is on that website as well, all of our live games. Yeah. And if you miss a game, it's on demand. You can catch it there, too.
Couldn't have said it any better. Well, for Doug Thompson,
I'm Joe Brown.
Have a great week. We will see you here next week, same time, same place.
As far as engagement rings, or any ring for that matter, or any piece of jewelry, there's nothing that we probably cannot do.
Every engagement ring imaginable is available here. We not only have in-stock pieces, but we also make custom-made jewelry. Anything that they are seeing in a mall-type setting, we can absolutely reproduce it if we don't already have it in stock. I will say we're very personable here.
We try to make it very special for everybody.
Planes and trains, cars and guitars, caves and waves, rails and trails, thrills and chills, charm and farms. We could keep going for days, and that's just what it would take to see and do everything in the Bowling Green area. As the home of the Corvette, we sure love our fast cars, but the city offers so much more that we think you'll be surprised by how much is happening here. The icing on the Duncan Hines cake is that we're geared for couples, families, and groups with this many options. For more information, go to visit WNKY.com.